Thank you for joining us for another ISV video. I'm your host, Melissa Smith, ISV Account Manager in North America for Healthcare and Government. Today we have the honor of having Scott Fillian, Chief Commercial Officer of Seal Shield. Seal Shield is a leader in innovation equipment for infection prevention. So Scott, thank you so much for joining us today. If you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you personally became involved with Seal Shield.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Melissa. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your show today. For me, the journey started a long time ago. Actually, my first job out of college, I was fortunate enough to come out into the working world during the boom of really the information technology era. Dating myself, but graduated in the early 90s. And my first job was at a little company distributor down in Florida called Tech Data. You might have heard of them now. Now they're TD Synnex, one of the largest multi-billion-dollar global distributors in the world. But they were not that size then. But one of the guys I met early on in my career was Bradley Whitchurch, and he's our CEO here at Seal Shield. And we kind of formed a lifelong business relationship and friendship, and many of those early Tech Data days and relationships have kind of followed me throughout my career. But fast forward a few decades, we were both working in government contracting in the DC area, and he'd kind of fallen into some healthcare avenues, and it really wasn't my line of expertise. But Kaiser, way back in that day, had identified a C. diff outbreak to a nursing station keyboard, and they had somehow gotten into his network that they were looking if we could build one, they'd buy millions of them. So he called me, and I can't say I came running with open arms in the beginning, but we definitely had something. And soon after that, really the world's first dishwasher keyboard came to life. And one of our early on investors had suffered a hospital-acquired infection, and it moved us. And we wanted to do something meaningful and purposeful in what we were doing. We didn't want to be a keyboard manufacturer. And frankly, we didn't think at that point we could brand ourselves and compete with an HP or Microsoft on a retail space. And ever since then, we've really focused on infection prevention type of solutions. So that brings me up to here, Melissa.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you for the background. So can you tell us a little bit about why Seal Shield promotes themselves for the infection prevention space?
Yeah, well, exactly that. First of all, there is a huge need in the world today, but in the U.S. alone, there are still 2 million people a year that contract a hospital-acquired infection. They are going to their caregiver for one reason or another. It could be routine checkups, and they're acquiring something that 100,000 U.S. people die every year for. It's a top 10 killer in the U.S., and really there are a number of simple solutions, including a washable keyboard, that help eliminate those cross-contamination vectors. So early on in our hiring stages, we look to hire men of science, and one of really the driving force inside of our company is Christian Davis. He's our Chief Technology Officer, but he holds a double E, and he's a microbiologist, and he really has helped build and has a vision for the company in each solution we bring to market, and it is solving a real life problem out there for healthcare today. And since Christian's arrival, we've been very fortunate. We've got Dr. Norman Horn on staff. He's a a chemist out of MIT, but he's recently published for his UV work in NIST, and just a really talented team designing products that reduce hospital-acquired infections, but reduce stress, workload, all of those types of things.
So isn't infection prevention a clinical responsibility in most hospitals?
It really is everyone's responsibility. In most hospitals, there is a clinical leadership, but you'll find that hospitals today really have someone from every department that is vested. There's a stakeholder, and not only do they set policy throughout their organization, but that's how each department in the organization kind of has voice, and the message is brought back down through them. I think what we find today, and we really hope was going to change with what we all learned from COVID, was really just the importance of the infection preventionists inside of healthcare today. For someone who has such a huge responsibility, they carry very little, or they carry no budget, which sometimes means little weight. So I do, and I was very optimistic, as their role was really put in the forefront during COVID, and I fear a little bit that we're kind of slipping back to our old ways already.
Yeah, I have the same fear. And as we see numbers climb again, it's, definitely the uncertainty is there, but we appreciate we have companies like yourself in the space. So who benefits the most from using the technology? Is it IT or the infection prevention?
Well, we would like to think that it's the patient, it's the caregiver. The overall environment is in a safer space. But as I mentioned, Christian and the development team, they really look at individual workflows and see areas that a technology could improve the specific workflow, or reduce the overall time that it takes to get it done. Those seem to be some of the most successful areas where we've seen technology come in and really help reduce the timing through a workflow. And today, everyone is really strapped on manpower. So I know that's where we focus a lot of our area, or a lot of our future development.
Okay. Why is a company like Seal Shield involved in an organization like Leapfrog?
So Leapfrog, for us, it's a new partnership. Seal Shield is a PAC member, but Leapfrog themselves is a hospital accreditation organization. They go out and frankly rank hospitals in a number of different areas, and that's not why we're involved, but for us, they really help set standards, and we think there are still areas in healthcare that really need to be examined, and the standards need to either be re-examined or set, and specifically in the disinfection area. As a PAC member, Seal Shield was afforded the opportunity to actually work on a task force. It's a work group on the environment of care in hospitals and acute care settings. And we have, as I previously mentioned, Dr. Norman Horn. He was specifically asked to be a part of this task force for his past work in UBC and polymers and monomers and this surface disinfection. So both Brad Whitchurch and from Seal Shield, our CEO, and Norman Horn are proud to be a part of that team, and we're excited about the outcomes as they go forward. Again, this is our first year with Leapfrog. I know the annual conference is coming up and awards and stuff in December. But I'm very anxious as this work group, I think they've met their first time and started outlining the scope of what they're trying to accomplish. So more to come.
So, Scott, why is UVC becoming such a popular disinfection modality in mobile devices and specifically in the healthcare setting?
I wish it would grow a little faster, but no.
So do we.
I think most hospitals are still working on reducing their dependencies on um, antibiotics, and they're trying to find creative ways to kill nasty pathogens. We in the UBC field honestly feel like way back in the early 1900s, we're really starting to move development in that area, and really the onset of antibiotics kind of set it back a number of decades. But it's clean and efficient way to disinfect in the hospitals, and we're finding the effectiveness and the UBC, whether you're a developer in a mercury bulb type of a setting or an LED or however you're achieving the radiation. The technology is improving significantly. The cost points are coming down. As we mentioned earlier, really everyone is struggling with their labor force. And if you can find a clean way to help automate and disinfect, and it's gone from mobile robots and where Seal Shield sits in these disinfection chambers to sensors that notice when you walk in and out of the room, and then the ceiling tiles illuminate and do the disinfection from surface level. So it's really gotten sophisticated. Pricing has come down. Now we need really the government bodies to stop fighting the FDA and EPA on who's going to regulate, and really just let the UV Society do it. But
Right.
it is an exciting time to be in the space, Melissa, for sure.
So, is it true you've recently just purchased one of your largest competitors?
Yes, thank you. We're very excited about that. Where Seal Shield has been in, as I said, this cabinet space, and our main product, disinfecting mobile and communication devices in healthcare. There are a number of people in the space, and a Canadian company named Clean Slate probably. They had a simple solution, but open to many different applications with a quick 20-second disinfection, but an amazing install base in North America. And yeah, we were very happy to acquire them. It's a very synergistic product to what the Seal Shield family already had, and we'll continue to look at developments in this space, and that's part of our overall growth strategy, is looking for and kind of like-minded companies that are in this infection prevention small little niche.
Who do you see as leaders in this space?
So for us being a Florida company, we're really have a heavy influence on some of the great infection preventionists in our area. I mean, Chaz Rohn is he's the assistant VP of infection prevention at HCA here in Florida. But he has been on Clean Talk with us. Chad Nielsen, also another Florida IP. He's the University of Florida Health. And then even very local to us, a writer for Infection Control News, Isis Lampierre. She also an infection preventionist out of Moffitt. But all of them really, they sit on our advisory councils. Seal Shield has about an active 15-person advisory council, and it's made of infection preventionists and, if you would imagine, information technology professionals, CIOs, CNIOs. but they are been invaluable to us, and we've learned a ton from them throughout the years. And I mentioned Clean Talk TV because Brad Whitchurch, that really is an online platform where infection preventionists are sharing ideas, and you can hear from many of the people that I just spoke of. And Brad himself
Okay.
is an expert in the area.
What are the best forums to reach them?
So for us, we participate in APIC every year, the Association for Professionals in Infection Control, and I would strongly encourage you to join your local chapters. It's a vibrant community. There's not a million of them of us, but it's a very tight knit community and a great networking community. We're always at the national shows. We just recently had our one in Orlando. Seal Shield, though, participates in global events all over the world, including HIMSS and Medica and Hospitalar in South America. All right, so one of the recent little gems, if I found one here, is our membership in CHIMES. So CHIMES is the College of Healthcare of Information Management Executives. Really, it's a CIO type of a community where they're getting together a couple of times a year and really looking at the challenges in healthcare and all different aspects of healthcare, everything from insurance to caregiving. But for us, it's really been a community of thought leaders that has been invaluable in shaping at least some of our future design around some of our products. Obviously, we've been working closely with at Chimes, even in our partnership with Zebra. We've done a number of combined work groups that I believe both of us have benefited dearly from.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're looking forward to, continuing to work with you on that. And we've got a lot of great things that I think by the end of the year will come to fruition. So we appreciate that participation as well. Can you tell us what's next on the horizon for Seal Shield?
Well, I think you're going to see a lot more of the same. One of the things we're focusing on is the air quality in healthcare. We really feel like that's a space where there's a lot of work still left to be done. We have a number of different products that we have in the background. We've always been a specialist in antimicrobials and polymers and monomers and making plastics antimicrobial. And I think we've got some neat stuff on the forefront out there in the future coming as well.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing more about that in the future, most definitely. Scott, can you just share with our audience how they can connect with you?
Definitely. You can always call anyone at Seal Shield at 877-325-7443 or find us at www.sealshield.com. Or we'd love to include you into our infection prevention community, and that's at cleantalk.tv.
We definitely appreciate having you on and appreciate the partnership. We're excited to see where it goes. Before we, end our podcast today, is there any final thoughts you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, yes, definitely. Thank you for that, Melissa, and I really enjoyed being on. But we owe a big thank you to Zebra. And really, our relationship started at a HIMSS conference in 2022. And for a long time, we were in this UV disinfection space, and we were pointing out, that all UV wasn't created the same. And Zebra was very concerned about findings they had about some of the degradations in some of their plastics after extended exposure to UV. And so we got our engineering teams together and we talked about how we created energy through an LED, and there was no heat or um, no heat exposing to the plastics. And really, we had been saying it for a long time, but until your team and the Zebra team went in and did the independent studies and proved what we had known all along, really. It was a validation period for Seal Shield, or a validation point. And since that day, our partnership has continued to grow. But we're definitely looked at in a different light, and everybody is once someone else has found the same conclusions as your own independent study or your own internal studies. So thank you.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. And we're looking forward to having you back in our booth for the next TIMS in 2023 or in 2024. So definitely appreciate it. Thank you to our viewers for joining. Scott, your time was definitely appreciated. If you're looking to connect with Zebra, you can also feel free to go on our website at www.zebra.com. Thank you for joining another ISV podcast.